Hi everyone, and welcome back to Eagle Eye Builds. My name is John and this is my shop journey. So I want to talk to you today about what I've been doing to my table saw. Some of you may have seen in the last video I did a new outfeed table with some storage underneath. Today I want to walk you through everything else I've done to the table saw by kind of permanently fixing the two together, adding a router table to it, and just cleaning up some storage options I have for it. So I would love for you guys to sit back and relax and enjoy what I've done. First, what I want to do is walk you through what I've done underneath the saw itself. I've added some storage to it. What you see here is a Delta saw I picked up at Lowe's. I don't believe you can get this same version anymore. The ones I've seen now are quite a bit more expensive than I paid for it. But I did do some modifications to it to kind of make it more user-friendly. So I added two different drawers in here. I did a very similar construction that I've done in my previous builds to the actual workshop itself, just like I did on the outfeed table. I have some basic storage here showing basically everything I need to have close to the table saw. Dado blades, setup blocks, squares, different plates, that type of thing, just to make sure I have everything where I need it. Over here to the right of the saw, I actually put in a little bit of wing on here to have a home location for my sled for the table saw. I've seen some people, these people hang them up on the wall and that type of thing. It's kind of large, kind of heavy. I just want it handy where I need it so I can pull it in and out for quick cuts, that type of thing. So it's been very useful here next to me. Over here on the right side of the table saw, I wanted to add in a router table. I do a lot of different projects where I like to round over. They're small pieces usually. So I figured a router table would be a really nice solution. With a small shop, I'm trying to utilize my footprint as best I can. So what I want to do is just replace the wing I had already built for my table saw and added this one on. Use the same materials that I have with the rest of the shop. Kind of on a tight budget, so instead of actually buying a plate or anything else like that, I used a 3D printer and I actually printed out a plate that would fit in here, and then that would also work with my router table. Also printed out the little inserts that you use for your router table. Have a couple different ones here, different sizes, depending on which type of bit profile I'm putting on, and then the tool itself to actually get it out. So one of the last things I did, I actually routed out these channels in my top itself, just so I have access and ability to push my sled all the way through the cut. I had this on my previous outfeed table. If you've watched my previous video on me actually making the outfeed table itself, I had not done that yet. I was kind of waiting to get everything situated. Mainly reason is I trimmed out all the way around the whole saw on three sides with some nice oak. I attached it together so it's kind of one piece. I did have to put in some spacers on either end just so I could have clearance for my table saw fence to move back and forth. Without doing that, it would actually pinch it for at least this type of table saw. Whatever table saw you have may differ. So that's what worked for me. So let me give you a little more information around the router table itself. That's probably the part of the project that's taken me the longest to do. I've never had my hands personally on a router table. I've only seen it on other YouTube videos, other how-to videos, that type of thing on using a router table. So I've kind of had to make some of this stuff up and do some research on my own. So what I did is my 3D printer, I came up with a size that was going to work. First of all, part of it, if you know anything about 3D printers, you do have print capacities, how big you can actually go. Mine only goes to 256 millimeters cubed, so very limited. I couldn't do a proper like 9¼ by 11¾ plate. So I did a 9¼ square is what I went with. My first iterations, I got the spacing pretty close to correct for my router. That's what these are here. Then I had mounting screws. That was first in. Okay, then I failed on that one because the spacing was not quite right and I was missing another hole. Then I had to make a couple other iterations to get the right correct hole in there that I needed to have access to be able to adjust the router up and down. And then you have to make sure you make it strong enough so depending on your fill rate. So if you don't know much about 3D printing, please leave it down in the comment below. I'm happy to talk to you a little more about it. But I was surprised at how useful that tool's been in the shop. I thought it was going to be for knickknacks and stuff for my kids, but really been a very useful tool in the workshop. Once I had that size figured out, then I had to make a template so I could do my routing out. None of my routers have bushings, so I got these bushings at Harbor Freight. There's 9 of them, 9 piece in here. One thing, as long as it's 1 3/16 hole inside your router plate, you can make these bushings work. They work really good for any type of templates you have. You just may have to factor in the thickness of where that router bushing sits in relationship to the bit and just offset that. So I did that for the router. I also made a template for my grooves I made out in my reliefs in there for my sled too. If you notice, these are actually they're multiple pieces. This itself is actually 4 different pieces, the same piece. I just use a dovetail and put it all together. Pretty simple construction. This way I use the same type of idea with dovetail. Worked really well for what it was. I mean, yeah, it's a one-off type of thing. Seems a lot of extra work, and I could have done it with wood, absolutely. But I wanted to be as accurate and precise I could be to the plate I made. And since I had all that dimensions in the CAD, it was a lot easier that way. So not everyone's good at CAD. I understand that. So whatever's going to work for you, I suggest you do. Some other things, as I mentioned before, is just some different pieces for the router table itself. You need inserts. My final one was actually a red plate that I made because I had to make some reliefs in there for this detail to actually lock in place. That's why I have the tool for. It actually just goes in there, screws tight, screws to loosen. So again, there's all these files out there, all different sites out there. I'll put some links in the description below showing where I've found these. A lot of them are for free. So I mean, these are actually for a Craig jig, so that would work as well. So whatever works for you, there's probably a solution either already out there if you're not as comfortable using CAD as I am. So that's what I've done to my table saw and attaching it to my outfeed. If you've liked what you've seen today, I would love for a comment or a subscription would be wonderful. But any likes, or even if you dislike, I'd love to understand what maybe I did wrong or what you thought I should have done differently. Always welcome to constructive criticism, always helpful. I appreciate everybody's time watching. It's been a few weeks since I had my last video out. I have some more in the pipeline that I want to get out soon. I need to find a good home for my planer and my sander I have. So more to come on that. I want to do some work with my dust collection too to help make that better. So more to come, hopefully sooner than later. So again, I appreciate everybody's time, and everybody take care.